Hey everyone, this is Bull James, and you are listening to me on another wrestling podcast. No, not that I'm on another wrestling podcast, but I'm on another wrestling podcast. That's the name of the show. That's how it works. Anyway, hey everyone, this is Bull James, and you are listening to me on another wrestling podcast. No, not that I'm on another wrestling podcast, but I'm on another wrestling podcast. That's the name of the show. That's how it works. Anyway, listen, enjoy, have fun.
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
The measuring stick just changed around here, buddy. You're looking at
the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
They think they got the answers. I change the question.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
These are the best in the world, brother. These are the best at what they do.
When we talk about the legends of the sport, there's only two in my book.
Another wrestling podcast.
Another wrestling podcast. Now can you dig that, sucker?
Welcome, everybody, to another wrestling podcast. This is episode number 105. Today, we've got a lot to talk about. I'm Jonathan Benjamin.
And I'm Steve Credo.
Steve, we have had a busy week.
Busy. Been running around everywhere, up and down, left and right.
Yeah, we attended NXT in Poughkeepsie, our hometown. And it was great to meet a lot of you guys. We had some people come up to us and say hello. And, it's great that you guys are listening. We want to thank you again for doing that. Steve, we have a huge show today. Probably the best show we've done.
Jonathan, I'll hold you to that. But, joining us today on the show is former NXT superstar Bull Dempsey, currently known as Bull James. He'll be in the studio in a little bit, so stick around. Jonathan, you said it. We've been up and down the road, left and right. A big week for us. NXT Poughkeepsie was in town. A lot of things have happened. But, first of all, we lost the ninth wonder of the world, Jonathan. Chyna recently passed away. Do you have any, memories of Chyna that you want to talk about?
Yeah, it's, it's really sad, this whole situation. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there with agendas whenever these things happen. And ultimately, I just want to say, I was highly entertained by Chyna. I thought that she was great. She was one of these women that changed professional wrestling forever. And, you saw a lot of the tweets from the other wrestlers, Trish Stratus, Bayley, all these people understand that and recognize that. And that's really what I want people to remember Chyna for doing, is revolutionizing women's wrestling and, in a small way, revolutionizing professional wrestling in general, just because of what her contributions were. And, she had a tough life, and I just hope that her family and everybody else, can get through this okay, and just realize that she was loved by a lot of people and that she made history. Is really, really the best way I can say it.
Earlier this year, too, Steve Austin also put Triple H on the hot spot of asking, when will we see Chyna in the Hall of Fame? And granted, we all know she had a little stint in the adult film world, but, she was, from what we've seen, trying to get her life back on track, trying to, to fix her image a little bit. And, it's a shame because, that kind of started a fire of, why isn't Chyna in there? And then it's, Triple H stated that, well, he doesn't want his daughters to Google Chyna and, see those images, if you will. But, we all do something stupid in our life, right? Things happen. You can't erase history, but you can just keep moving forward, you know what I mean? And try to do better. And, that's what I think she was doing, in the last few months of her career, trying to get back on track. They were filming a new documentary, too, with her. And, look at what happened. She passed away. And what did we look at? What did we talk about when Chyna passed away? We talked about her career, all the good stuff that happened in her life. We weren't saying, this porn star or whatever passed away. It had nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? It was all of her accomplishments in the world of professional wrestling, and that was put on the spotlight. And I think that's really what the Hall of Fame should be doing and is doing, is not looking at the bad, but more looking at the good. And it definitely is a tragedy that we no longer have the ninth wonder of the world, Chyna, anymore. So once again, rest in peace to her, and our condolences to her and her family. But Jonathan, now we had the pleasure to be a part of the first ever NXT show in our hometown in Poughkeepsie at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. And not only were we there, but Jonathan, we were there ringside yet again.
Yeah, and the Mid-Hudson Civic Center is one of those places that there really isn't a bad seat in the house, but was very happy to have been there live. And NXT, there's something about it. There's a lot of energy from the fans. There's some of the best wrestlers in the world, and everybody went out there and put on a heck of a show. And from the very beginning to the very end, it's just, there's a different feel about it. And we've been to countless different events in the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, but there's just something about NXT Live. And we'll talk about it a little bit here, but I had it was a great time.
Definitely, Jonathan. It's one of those things, because when you look back on it, it's still technically WWE's developmental territory or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to say about it. But I'm saying, man, the fans. I don't remember a house show. That's what it was, a house show being this energetic, this lively. It wasn't even being taped for anything. It's crazy. You know what I mean? I don't remember any regular WWE show that, either if it's a Raw or a SmackDown show, doing a house show and it being this nuts. So it's definitely, the crowds are behind it. The crowds love NXT. It's, I don't know, John, I don't know what to classify it as, but it's definitely special. And hey, I was happy to be a part of the first one ever in the Mid-Hudson Civic Center.
Yeah, hopefully not the last. We chanted, "Please come back," so we're hoping they come back. But we saw. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the title change hands. We saw, in Lowell, Massachusetts, the 2 nights before, we had Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe beat him for the NXT Championship. But we still got an amazing main event. We had Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe versus Austin Aries, and I can't think of 3 better wrestlers that are in the world today. So that match was amazing. There were some surprising moments. We got to see some, good women's action. We got to see an amazing three best out of 3 falls tag match, the Revival versus American Alpha. So, Steve, do you have a favorite moment of the show that we went to?
A favorite moment of the show would definitely have to go to Nakamura's entrance. I'll tell you what, when, I don't know what you call it, but, after he walks in the ring, he goes to the ropes and he leans back. Dude, that had to be the biggest pop of the night. The fans love him. The fans loved it. And I have it on video. I recorded it. It's on our Instagram. You guys can check it out. But that one moment where he does that little move, man, the whole roof was about to fall off the building. It was great. I'm definitely Shinsuke Nakamura. Whatever you want to call him, I'm definitely a fan of his. I got his shirt. I picked it up this weekend. But definitely, I love seeing him in action. He brings something different to the game, Jonathan. The king of strong style, whatever. He's definitely doing things different than a lot of other guys. His look, his entrance, just his whole mannerisms, I think, are great. And I hope he doesn't stay down in NXT too long. I'd love to see what he could do on the main roster, but I'll enjoy it while it lasts in NXT for sure.
Yeah, it's something different. He brings just a lot of charisma. He looks like a superstar. He really does. And I think that there's going to be a lot of great things coming from Shinsuke Nakamura. Also, probably one of the best moments of the night for me, as I mentioned, was the best out of 3 falls, American Alpha versus the Revival. These guys make magic pretty much every time that they're in the ring together, and we got to see a little tease of American Alpha winning the match with double ankle locks. It was pretty awesome. So once they come back to Poughkeepsie, I hope it's not too too long. But yeah, it's such a historic place, and you could tell that they were all excited to be wrestling in a place that had so much wrestling history.
Definitely. And, I hope when they do come back, they bring those video cameras, because they'd be the perfect setting for some TV tapings. Just throwing it out there, guys. But Jonathan, on top of NXT Poughkeepsie this weekend, Finn Balor, this whole weekend on the little NXT tour was the talk of the town was Finn Balor teasing a Monday Night Raw appearance. After he lost the title, he was telling the fans outside the building, "See you Monday." He even got to the mic and told the fans in Poughkeepsie not to believe the rumors that he's here to stay in NXT. A lot of trolling by Finn Balor. He loves playing with the fans' emotions, I guess you could say. What do you think about this news? I mean, is it just to show you that you shouldn't believe everything, or you shouldn't listen to the dirt sheets, or I don't know? What are your thoughts on this?
Finn is a master of that sort of thing. I remember whenever there was the first hint of a rumor of the Bullet Club coming up to WWE, and he had posted within like 2 seconds, and it was on Instagram, and he was waiting for him at the Performance Center and all this stuff. And, it's something that's pretty neat, because you think of wrestling as everybody knows everything these days. There aren't a lot of surprises or anything like that. And with Finn, it's you never know what to believe. And I don't know if a lot of people will get this reference or not, but whenever you watch the movie Jaws for the very first time, you hear the music, and then Jaws pops out of the water. But then the next time you hear the music and nothing happens. And at that point, you know that no matter what happens, when that music plays, you don't know if it's going to pop out or not, because they've messed with your mind a little bit. And I think that that's what Finn Balor is doing. He's messing with all of our minds, and it's bringing a very tiny bit of kayfabe back into the wrestling business, which I am a huge fan of, and I love these little troll sessions that Finn Balor has. Kevin Owens is doing an amazing job of it on Twitter as well. It's a little bit different, but these two guys are highly entertaining, and I love it.
All right, guys, but also on the show, we're going to be talking about Payback this weekend. Give us a call, 802-297-7672. That's 802-AWP-7672. It's the AWP hotline. It's free to call, I guess, if you're calling within the United States. It's just a phone call. It's you call it up. You call it any time of day or night. Anytime you guys want to call, give it a call. Leave a promo. Tell us what you love. Tell us what you hate. Tell us what's on your mind, and the best calls will be played.
Hey guys, this is Steven from Steve's Wrestling Ramble and Main Event Marks. Just wanted to give my quick thoughts on the WWE Payback 2016 edition. I believe that with the card as constructed, it definitely can be and will be better than WrestleMania 32. Reigns successfully defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I don't see any heel turn. Maybe Finn Balor can be called up to the main roster and appear after the match is over, but who knows? Finn Balor's been teasing, and he always likes to troll the fans, so it could just be smoke and mirrors. Also, Charlotte successfully defending against Natty. As much as I would like to see Natty get a win, I don't see that happen. I don't see any titles actually being changed at Payback. So I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on Payback, and look forward to hearing your guys' predictions and preview for the 2016 edition of WWE Payback.
Well, Steve, we talked a lot about things we did, but now let's talk to somebody who was actually in NXT at one point. So let's talk to none other than formerly known as Bull Dempsey, now Bull James. All right, joining us on another wrestling podcast today, it's someone who prides himself on being a straight shooter. He calls it like he sees it. He shoots from the hip. He's frank. Actually, he's Bull. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bull James. Thanks so much for joining us today. How's it going?
Good, man. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Now, you've been on a roll as of late. You just came off a big weekend with for House of Hardcore, where you faced off against Eddie Kingston and former teacher Billy Gunn. But what fans might not know is that you were actually on the very first House of Hardcore show. What did you do?
Remember back before I signed with WWE, I was actually the mini roadkill at the first ever House of Hardcore show. Little known House of Hardcore trivia fact for you.
Wow. There you go.
There you go. Learn something new each week, Jonathan.
Absolutely.
See that? I'm just here to inform, guys. That's what I do.
That's right.
But no, man, House of Hardcore is it's a lot of fun, and I know like a lot of people were coming up to me, a lot of fans, and asking me, what's the next step for you? Where are you going to go? And quite honestly, Tommy's a guy who has always had my back. He's always been supportive of me, and I have no problem calling House of Hardcore my home because it does feel that way, and I view it as my home because it's just the right people in charge and the right guys on the show, and just amazing fans all around. It's the right thing for the business, and I think it's only the beginning for House of Hardcore.
Well, we love having them in our backyard. We are also based on the Northeast, so we are looking forward to a lot of future House of Hardcore shows, and we can't wait to see you there as well. But you also made some headlines at one of these shows this weekend. You locked lips with a friend of ours, Felicia Rose. How did that come about, and is there anything you want to say to Felicia tonight?
Well, just want to say, hey, what's up? And, some things happen sometimes. You're out there and you see something catches your eye, like a sign, a very suggestive sign. And, hey, sometimes you just act on it. You get a gut feeling and you act on it. And that's kind of what makes this industry so special. And that's what makes House of Hardcore so special is maybe beforehand, if that sign was in the audience somewhere else, let's say, I wouldn't necessarily have the opportunity to just go with my gut instinct and do something like that. But because it was House of Hardcore and because I am in the position I'm in now, screw it. Let's give people something they're going to remember.
Of course.
And just told Eddie Kingston, hey, hang on 1 second, I got to do something.
There you go. Now, Bull, we always like to get a little bit of like somewhat of an origin story, a story of how everyone got into the business. But, where did you grow up and, how, basically did you start getting into wrestling?
Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. And basically was working a dead-end job, and a guy in the loading dock was doing some indie wrestling. And I went and checked out a show he was on and signed up, started training. That was really it. 17 years old, and I knew what I wanted to do, so I went and did it.
Now, prior to that, you're obviously familiar with professional wrestling. Did you have any specific favorites that you really liked as you were growing up?
Everybody does, but it's always the same. It's always the Hogans and the Austins and DX and The Rock and whatever the top guy is, really, right? The flavor of that era, I guess you could say. And so growing up as a fan, it's always going to be one of those guys. But then as you get in the industry and mature in the industry, there's so many people that influence me, and either from personal experiences with them or just from being fans of what they did. Like Terry Funk and Bruiser Brody and Fit Finley and William Regal and Norman Smiley and Robbie Brookside, all these guys. You take what you can from everybody. You got to be open-minded to everything,
Mm-hmm. Now, you were trained in part by Taz. Did you feel that you were someone who caught on quickly to training, or did it take a while to get into the groove?
Well, I was trained already when I got to Taz's school. His school was a finishing school at that point, and it was basically guys with some experience, and it was him polishing them up and getting them ready for that next level. Mm-hmm. So I had a good base underneath me. There was a lot of guys local to the area, Danny Doring and Judas Young, Danny Inferno, Kodiak Bear, guys like that. And then fell into the hands of Matt Bourne by the grace of God, and he helped me out tremendously. And then from there, went on to Taz's school and got even more of a learning experience from somebody else who had been there and done that. So I was very fortunate to be in the hands of the right people all along the way.
Now, whenever you first started, like you said, you were at that dead-end job and you were looking to make a change. Whenever you got into professional wrestling, at any point did you start to question that career choice, or were you just happy to not be doing what you were doing?
No, I think it's just, obviously you get frustrated if things aren't going the way you want them to, but I knew, I'm going to do this. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, but it's going to happen. And I think when you put those blinders on and you just go balls to the wall, then, nobody can look down on you for that.
Sure. As of late, a lot of injuries going around in the world of professional wrestling. Did you have any injuries early on in your career that you could probably tell us about?
Knock on wood, the only injury that caused me to miss any time was a separated shoulder when I first got to NXT, and I was out for maybe 3 weeks. Oh. But thankfully, hopefully, I'm not jinxing myself here. I'm knocking on some wood now.
Of course.
That's the worst of it. So.
Okay. Now
I've been very fortunate in that department as well.
That's awesome. We're glad to hear that. But after a while, you started getting out there. You started working on the independent scene, and you're currently, working on the independent scene. Some times went by in between those parts of your career. Do you see any major differences between the independent wrestling scene then and now?
Yeah, definitely. I think, and it's good and bad. Right now, a lot of people are doing a lot of good business, and there's a lot more. It's a lot more organized than it once was. Promoters have their heads on a little more straight instead of just throwing whatever they want out there. Everything's cohesive and everybody's working together. There's no more. It's still there sometimes, but there's no more of these turf wars that don't make any sense.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think just as far as talent goes, there's a lot of talented guys coming up that just need that guidance. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think they maybe need to seek it out a little bit more. There's a lot of sense of entitlement with a lot of guys that have maybe been in the business for a year or two. And I know when I was breaking in, that would have never flown,
Sure. Now, you're still early on in your career, but what are some of your highlights, I guess you would call them? Anything that stands out above the rest?
I'm always going to look at Barclays and, being in front of my hometown crowd and my parents in the front row. I'll always have that. Nobody can take that away from me. Blackpool and the NXT UK tour was definitely a highlight. But there's highlights for different reasons. There's times where I got to wrestle Matt Bourne before he passed, and I'll always cherish those moments. Or stepping in the ring with somebody like Danny Doring, who to this day is one of my best friends. I'll always have those things. There's always going to be things that are special for obvious reasons, like Barclays or something like that. But then there's always those really sentimental moments too, where maybe to somebody else it was just another match or just another show I was on, but to me it was special for a certain reason.
Okay. Now we talked about some of the places that you have wrestled already, CZW, House of Hardcore, but there's a lot of wrestling talent on the independent scene right now. Is there anybody that you haven't got the chance to kind of face that you're hoping that maybe someone's listening right now and they could say, all right, we're gonna make this match happen? Is there anybody that you're just itching to work with?
I would have said Eddie Kingston, but Tommy beat everybody to the punch on that one. Maybe Homicide, now that he's back and healthy, because I've been around him for years, but we never actually got to wrestle each other. Just trying to think out loud. The Young Bucks, obviously, because I always said it, maybe I didn't get to wrestle against Finn Balor or Sami Zayn or Apollo Crews or those top guys in NXT. I teamed with a lot of them, but if you want to be the best, you got to prove yourself against the best. And I think those guys have carved themselves out a niche as being the best on the independents right now, whether it's through their work or it's through their fan base or whatever the case is. I would, if you want to be a top dog, then go where the top dogs are. So I think it only makes sense for me to want to wrestle some, guys like that.
Sure. Now, you've been wrestling for a while in training. Long story short, after wrestling and training for a while, you got signed by the WWE. You went to NXT. What were your initial thoughts of how WWE does things now, especially with the training center and all that stuff?
Well, it's hard, man. It's rigorous and it's every day and it's a grind. But at the end of the day, you walk out of there a machine. You can go in the ring. There's nobody that can blow you up. There's nobody that can do anything to you that you don't want to be done to you. And then on the flip side, as far as making your shots and being a professional, being on time, it's just you learn everything that you need to learn to be successful, not just in the wrestling industry, but in life. You're over-prepared for any situation that life throws at you.
One of the cool things that I saw, you said that you had earned a scholarship to, the greatest wrestling school in the world, being down there. But while you were at the Performance Center, how much feedback were you getting? Was it constant, or did you kind of have to seek it out, or were there people, telling you all the time?
You were getting feedback every minute of every day from whoever was there.
And so,
it's still that way, and I think that'll never change.
And I mean, as a performer, that's something that, I mean, you obviously want that kind of to know what's going on. But did you feel like that there was anything that you specifically, when you got there, struggled with, or were you went through a lot of training, so you were probably pretty good? But personally, was there anything that you thought that you learned a lot at NXT?
I just think it was a matter of being patient and just knowing, all right, my time's going to come. It's just a matter of when. And you have to always be open to learning and wanting to learn. Like, if I'm an actor and I get a chance to be in a movie with Robert De Niro, and I decide, well, I'm just going to sit over here and let him do his thing, and I'll just read my lines when it's my turn to read my lines. You're not going to go anywhere. You need to go up to that guy and ask him questions and pick his brain, because he's been there, done that, and done everything there is to do. Mm-hmm. So if you're around people that are better than you have to latch on to those people. You have to learn from them.
Sure. Now, did you enjoy taking those promo classes? I've seen a lot of them behind the scenes stuff. Was it kind of different than anything you've ever were taught before?
Yeah, I mean, it was more just being around Dusty and learning from him. It was the best part of it, And when guys like Regal would come down, obviously you can learn a ton from him, and he's just amazing at what he does. But being around Dusty was just incredible, and I'm always thankful for having that, because a lot of people now will never get that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And, it's one of those things where he just changes the way you look at things, and you get a different perspective on something that nobody else in that company really can give you. It's a perspective that's different from everybody else that works there. And from a guy that literally was on top of the wrestling industry for how many years, and on top of that was just his own person. He was just a special guy.
Now, you came into NXT, you were kind of one character, and then as you were getting some footing and people were backing you, you kind of changed characters. Who were some of the driving forces behind the actual change to the Bullfit character?
I think it was just a collective agreement that was made, and a direction that the company wanted to go in. So, your job is just to show up with a smile on your face every day and do your job to the best of your ability. And if you commit to something and make it work, that's your job. It's very easy to sit there and go, oh, you want me to do this stupid thing? I'm not going to do it. Okay, well, then they'll find somebody else to do it. Mm-hmm. But if you show up, do what's asked of you, and do it the best you can and make it work, then you're going to stick around for a little while. And I was lucky enough to have almost 3 years there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Now, while you're in NXT, you were also people were getting called up to the main roster. Did you see people that got called up that were maybe apprehensive to go because they saw what happened to other people that got called up? Was there anything like that, or no?
No, I don't think so. At the end of the day, that's the goal.
Yeah. The
goal is to get to that Raw or that SmackDown roster. Like, yeah, NXT is its own brand, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and you want to feed your family, and you want to put away as much money as you can in the quickest amount of time. And I think if your goal isn't to be on that level that those guys are now getting to be at, and by the way, I'm proud of those guys, and I'm so happy for all of them because they've all worked their asses off. But if that's not your goal, then you're in the wrong business.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of people that are in NXT. We just mentioned some of them have been called up. Is there anybody down there, either right now or people that are on the main roster, that you feel like don't get the credit that they deserve, whether it's in a training capacity, a wrestling capacity? Is there anybody that you just think that, is a lot better than people give them credit for?
Yeah, I mean, Ty Dillinger, but I think everybody says that, so maybe he is getting the credit he deserves. But he's a phenomenal talent. Wesley Blake is another one, just absolutely incredible. I'm trying to go around like the lock off the top of my head. I'm going to miss people and they're going to get mad at me, but it happens. Riddick Moss is a guy with a huge upside who I think has a really bright future. You know, he could talk, he could walk, he's got the look. I think he's going to do really well. There's a guy down there now, Zim Salmani, who's was an MMA fighter from Albania and the Netherlands, and he's like 21 years old, and he's built like a house, and he can move, and he's got a good attitude, and he works hard. I think he's, you know, if he sticks with it, I think he's going to do really well. I think ZZ is going to be the next 10-time WWE champion.
Okay.
I'm trying to think who else is around there. I don't know. It just sucks not having like everybody in front of me because I could rattle off, but I can rattle off things about everybody there. That's the cool part of that place.
Mm.
I could sit here and walk through that whole locker room. Hugo Knox, another guy who I think is going to do really well. But and you know, it pops in your head. But I can say something about everybody there as to why they should be there and what they bring to the table.
Sure. Now,
and that's the really, really cool part about that place.
Now, at the end of the day, what was probably the most important thing you learned while you're down there?
It's so hard to narrow it down to one thing because you're learning a million things every day. You know, I think it's just it goes back to stuff that I learned when I was first breaking in. It's just staying humble and doing the right thing and being a good person. I think that's what it all boils down to.
Now, you're what I would consider a big man in the world of professional wrestling. Who do you consider some of your favorite big men in the world of professional wrestling?
I think Bam Bam's always going to be on that list, but it depends on, you know, what the style is and what I'm watching for on that day. I mean, I'm going to say Dusty and Dick Murdoch, obviously, and Adrian Adonis and Bruiser Brody, you know, and Dr. Death and Jason Cox. And I can rattle off just lists of guys, and then I got a tape to my parents' basement that they probably want to kill me for still having. But you know, it's just you just got to soak up everything you can from every guy, and then to narrow it down to one person. I mean, you know, you can take something from everybody, and I think that's the beauty of what we do.
Now, there's one thing that kind of I was confused about, and it was happening whenever Kevin Owens kind of first came on the scene in the WWE, and it seemed like the announcers were saying stuff about his weight, and Randy Orton even made some cracks about his weight. Do you think that was a way of like trying to like body shame him, or I just as a fan I just don't really understand it because, you know, obviously he can move around. It's just like, you know, like you said, like Bam Bam and some of these guys, they can all move around. I just wasn't really sure, and maybe you didn't know that was happening or whatever. But
I mean, I heard people bitch about it, but you know, I mean, they did it to me on an NXT pre-tape once, so who cares? You know, yeah. And then even when we started doing the bullshit videos and everything, people, they're body shaming. Like, it's entertainment. Take it for what it is. Like, yeah. The first vignette we did, I thought was hilarious. Even if I wasn't in it, I would have laughed at it. You know, and that got me the most feedback on social media, from the boys, from everything. It's just because it was just totally a 180 from everything I was doing, and it was funny. And if you just take stuff for what it is and stop trying to make a thing out of every little thing,
yep.
That and you know, people are so quick to do that. And you know what? Even if they are trying to body shame Kevin, then Kevin needs to go out there and stick it up their ass. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is. You prove them wrong, and it's so. I don't know. I hate the politically correct. They're body shaming them. They can't talk about them like that. No, you know, you're getting like when I was getting bullied as a kid. You know what got him to stop? When I punched him in the face. It wasn't going to run into a teacher. It wasn't taking anti-bullying classes. I went and I punched the kid in the face, and he stopped making fun of me. So go out there, stick it up their ass, show them why they're wrong, and show them why you deserve to be there. And at the end of the day, that's all you can do. And as long as you can look yourself in the mirror, that you know, at the end of each day, and when you wake up in the morning, you're doing the right thing.
Awesome. Now, Friday, April 29th, Survivor Slam at Avenel, New Jersey. Proceeds were going to benefit the American Cancer Society. ESS Promotions is going to be bringing in Bull James. For people who may not be familiar with you, what can the fans expect that night, Bull?
You can expect a hard-hitting competitor. You can expect a guy who's going to make you laugh, make you cry, make you feel everything he's doing. I'll be there that night. I'll also be at Five Borough Wrestling that night, and then the next day I'll be doing a signing at the Wrestling Universe in Queens, and I will be competing at WrestlePro in New Jersey and NYWC on Long Island. So that's a jam-packed weekend for me, and I think it's just a testament to, my work ethic and what I can bring to the table somewhere, and I'm really looking forward to the future.
Awesome. Well, obviously in the world today, it's pretty much driven by social media. Where can fans keep up with you on social media these days?
My Twitter handle is still at Bull Dempsey WWE, which will soon be changing to at Real Bull James once whoever's working on that works on it and gets it done. I can keep my verification because that's important nowadays. And I'm also on Instagram at The Bull James or The Bull James, however you want to say it. And I think that's it, yeah, right? Twitter, Instagram, those are the two big ones.
Anything else out there that you want to plug? Feel free.
No, just ProWrestlingTees.com/Bull. And to anybody out there who has supported me along the way, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because without the fans, we're nothing.
All right, well, Bull James, thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to see you on April 29th.
Thank you, guys. Can't wait.
Once again, thanks to Bull James, formerly known as Bull Dempsey. Be sure and check him out this weekend. Be sure and head on over to ESSpromotions.com. And also, coming up on these shows is a legend, a WWE Hall of Famer, and he goes by the name of Coco Beware. He's also going to be around this weekend. He'll be on the show in a few weeks, but here is Coco talking about the upcoming shows this weekend.
Speaking of traveling around, you have a lot of appearances coming up here shortly on the East Coast. You're going to be with ESS Promotions. You get to wrestle for SWF on April 29th, as well as East Coast Pro Wrestling, and also you're taking part of a couple autograph signings. What does it mean to you to be able to go out and still do this today, do what you love, as well as go out and meet and greet all these great fans?
Well, I just think it's an honor, and I really thank Eric Sim for inviting me up. He's one of the greatest promoters in the country, and it just gives me a chance to get back up in that part of the country to see the fans that helped put me into the Hall of Fame, the people that saw me in the Madison Square Garden and stuff like that, just all around the East Coast wrestling up there, just where they came out and they saw Coco Beware and all the rest of us, And now I can, you know what, and it's good, and I'm still thought of that I get a chance to go back and see some of those fans and stuff, and let them know, hey, that I'm still alive. I'm doing well. In fact, I'm doing extra well. I mean, I'm a musician in the church, and I got God in my life, and man, I mean, what can I say? I mean, I'm just, hey, this is awesome. I'm having a great time.
Promo of the week.
I feel good, 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 and I feel so good. Oh, yes, I do. Every time I do somebody makes me feel good. Ain't that right, Frank? That's right, baby. You see, in the World Wrestling Federation, brother, that's what makes me feel good. Because, you see, I got everything going for myself, brother. And Frankie got everything going for himself, too. You see, the ring crew and the camera crew guys in the World Wrestling Federation, they love for me to sing, I feel good, good, good. And I feel good, oh yes I do.
make sure you head on over to anotherwrestlingpodcast.com, the mothership of AWP. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Player FM, and TuneIn.
You can buy our official Another Wrestling Podcast shirts, ProWrestlingTees.com/Another Wrestling Podcast.
Like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/Another Wrestling Podcast.
Follow us on Twitter, Twitter.com/AWrestlingPod.
Subscribe to us on YouTube, YouTube.com/Another Wrestling Pod.
And be sure to follow us on Instagram at Another Wrestling Podcast.
Hello.
Hello, Stone Cold?
Hello? Who's this?
This is Jason Sensation. How you doing, man?
What?
This is Jason Sensation. How you doing, Steve Austin? Sorry to bother you, sir.
Jason what?
Jason Sensation. How are you?
I remember Jason Sensation. How you doing, kid?
I'm doing okay, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing well. I'm up here on my ranch. It's good to talk to you. I don't know why you're calling me right now.
I don't know. I'm actually calling with Another Wrestling Podcast, the AWP, and just wanted to ask you a couple of questions.
Those guys are pretty good guys.
Oh, thanks. And they are good guys. So what's going on in the wrestling world these days, Mr. Austin?
What is going on? I mean, something that I can talk about that I'm not going to be putting on my podcast. I want to talk about Ric Flair right now. What's going on with Ric Flair?
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard about the Ric Flair incidents?
I did. I just read about. I read about some stuff on TMZ that he was. Some people say he was drunk in an airport. Then reports came that he wasn't drunk.
Of course he was drunk. He's Ric Flair. He's always drunk. I'd like to get drunk too. I can't get drunk right now because the new lady I'm with won't let me have a beer. She won't let my damn dog have a beer. She's giving me apple teenies and some kind of sweet cider and crap. But I'm telling you right now, Ric Flair is drunk. I know the man. The man has been drinking for 75 years, and I'm pretty sure he's drunk right now. I think we could call him on the phone, and you could say, "Hey, Ric Flair," and he'd say, "Hello, I'm drunk." That's how Ric Flair's been drinking all day. I can't believe he said it to tell you.
Yeah, that was, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think he meant it. When Ric Flair's wound up and he's saying stuff, I think when he handed the mic over, there's a term that people use that knock yourself out. And I think he was trying to say that term, but he was so wound up in his
you should say
promo.
Break a leg, but you don't say that to somebody who's got like a broken leg. You don't say that. There's certain lines you don't cross. Ric Flair likes to cross lines. I think he was genuinely pissed off because she told him how Bret Hart beat him, and he couldn't take it. He wanted to say he beat Bret Hart all over the country, all over the world. I don't actually remember Ric Flair beating Bret Hart ever.
Would you mind if we called him? Like, if you called him right now, just so we could get his take on what happened?
Well, I call him right now, but I got one problem.
What?
I'm on the phone with you. How do you work that thing? You call two people at one time?
Yeah, conference call.
I don't know how to do this computer stuff. I got like 18 people here running my podcast. All right, give me 1 second. I get somebody to help me out with this. I don't know how to call. Talking about conference call. Yeah, like Paul Heyman. Can you help me with that? All right, yeah, let's do that. All right, yeah, they're going to help us out. All right, we're going to give Ric Flair a call. You do your thing. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Hello?
Hello. Ric Flair, we got you on the line.
Is Austin?
Yeah.
How you doing, Austin?
You know who it is, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing okay. Hanging in there. I always love hearing from Stone Cold. What's going on, man? You want me on your podcast or what?
I ain't talking about my podcast. My podcast is booked for the next 17 months. But I'll tell you what, I got a kid on the line named Jason Sensation. You remember him from the Attitude Era. He's on the line with me right now.
I don't remember him. I don't know who the hell he is, huh?
You don't remember
Ric
anything,
Flair.
Rick. Let's face it, you don't remember anything. You're like Paul Orndorff. You guys both don't remember nothing. You don't remember 4 minutes ago. I'm reading a lot online here, Rick. It says you've been drinking in the airport.
I did not drink in the airport. I don't know why they're saying that about me. I hurt my hand, and the security guards were taking me to the medical room. I mean, what are they talking about? Me drinking. Come on.
You don't got to get all worked up, Rick. Take it easy. Now, I don't know what they're talking about, but I'll tell you what. I'm sitting down here in Texas on my ranch, and I know you're drinking.
Austin, don't you get personal with me, huh?
Look, I know you had one margarita. I know you had two margarita. I know you had a Bloody Mary. I know you had a couple of Steve Weisers. I'm not saying you're drunk. I'm just saying you probably had something to drink.
Well, you know me pretty well, Stone Cold. If I'm drinking, that means you must be drinking, huh? Come on.
I can't. I already told you. I've been telling people all this all over the place. My new lady, she don't let me drink.
She don't let you drink. Then what was that big beer belly I saw at WrestleMania, huh? Hiding behind Austin 316 shirt? Come on. What are you talking about?
When you got a gimmick like Austin 316, but pretty much damn well the whole company can hide behind it. Now let me tell you something, Rick. I want to ask a question about what you happened to say to Natalia. Do you feel bad for yourself?
You know what? People are taking that out of context. I did not mean that literally. Come on. Why would I say that? They better cut that out. That better not be shown. And whoever announced it on the internet is a mark. Why would they announce something like that, huh?
I actually don't think it was a mark. I think it was a guy named Tom. Could have been anybody, really, Rick. That stuff gets out, especially when you're shooting it for SmackDown television. You're gonna tell somebody to go hurt themselves. Rick, I understand if you're upset, but you don't take it out on that kind of girl. She's a nice girl. She's a family member of Bret the Hitman Hart. You got a problem with Bret the Hitman Hart?
Of course I do. Bret Hart, come on. I am going to chop him at Payback. I'm going to chop him so hard he's going to fall right back into the wheelchair, and they're going to roll him away.
See, there you go again. Now you're saying stuff about Bret Hart like he's in a wheelchair. You got a problem with people in a wheelchair?
No, I do not.
Have you had anything to drink in the last 20 minutes?
No comment.
Have you had anything to drink in the last 12 minutes?
I said no comment. Come on. Stone Cold, what are you trying to do to me, huh? I thought we were boys.
I'm trying to, honestly, Rick, I call you. I'm trying to get you on this podcast from a friend, Jason, and then,
Yeah, it's another wrestling podcast, Mr. Flair, that you're on right now. What are you doing tricking me into a podcast? You next time you tell me that I'm on a podcast.
How many people you've been tricking into being on a podcast, Rick? You keep telling people it's Woo Nation. It's no Woo Nation. There's no nation at all. So, Rick, I just want to clarify, do you feel bad for what you said to Natalia?
If I meant it literally, I would feel bad, but I didn't even mean it literally. Come on now. You know I wouldn't say something like that. I was all wound up. I maybe had a few too many before.
We're giving you the opportunity to apologize.
I will apologize Sunday at Payback after I'm done chopping Bret Hart right back to the dressing room where he belongs. He doesn't even belong at the event. Bret Hart, go home. Natalia, go home. Charlotte, she is where it's at today. Woo! We're talking about genetics.
What you're trying to say, Rick, is you're sorry.
You know what? Maybe I am sorry.
All right, and you feel bad, right?
I feel bad because of all the bad heat I'm getting now. They better not fire me again. I don't want to go work for TNA again.
You're feeling bad about what you did, and that's why you had so many drinks at the airport, right?
I don't want to go work for TNA again. They better not fire me, and I did not drink at the airport. I hurt my hand.
Nothing wrong with doing charity work for TNA like everybody else does. But Rick, let's face it, you just got to apologize, say you're sorry, say you didn't mean it, say that Bret Hart's the best, and then we're clear here.
Okay, let's be honest. I've never been as good as Bret Hart. He's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
Hey, hold on a second. He's not the best there ever will be. Because
Why
I'm
not?
the best there ever will be.
Good point, Stone Cold. Good point. We should call Bret Hart.
All right. I don't know how to do it. I got 3-way calling. I ain't got like 9-way calling. I don't know what's going on here. If Jason wants to call Bret Hart, Jason can call Bret Hart.
Okay, I'm gonna try to call Bret here. Give me 1 second.
All right, you hang on the line, Rick. My friend Jason's going to call Bret the Hitman Hart. We're going to have this out right here.
Get him on the line. Hello.
Hello, Bret Hart. Hello, Bret Hart.
Yeah, it's Bret.
Yeah.
Who's this?
What do you mean, who's this? This is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing a lot better than Hulk Hogan is right now, let me tell you that. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. No complaints.
Well, that's good to hear. How are you feeling? How's your health?
You know, could be better, but I'm doing it really good, and I've been in better places, but I went through some hard times, but I'm doing a lot better now, and I thank the good Lord, and I thank my family. I thank all my friends for sticking by me and all my fans. I'm doing a lot better.
You got a lot of good family, a lot of good friends, a lot of good fans all around the world, Bret. Everybody's behind you. What I want to do right now is let you know that we're on another wrestling podcast, and we got Ric Flair on the line, and he wants to say he's sorry, and he wants to tell you that you're better than he is. Isn't that right, Rick?
Really?
Rick?
That's right.
Still there?
Bret Hart, this Sunday at Payback, when I'm done chopping you back to the dressing room where you belong, I want you to know that you are better than me in rolling that wheelchair up now. Woo! Hey, Bret?
I got to apologize right now, Bret. I got to apologize because Ric Flair's been drinking since the airport. He's been drunk for weeks. But he did want to apologize.
Ric Flair's always drinking. No, Rick, you can say all you want, but this Sunday at Payback, Natalia is going to put Charlotte in the sharpshooter and turn her into a pretzel. If you stick your big nose into it, I'm going to find a way to turn you into a pretzel outside the ring.
Maybe turn Ric Flair into a jelly donut. He looks like he's got probably enough grapes in there from all the red wine he's been drinking. He'll become a nice...
I thought you were my friend. What are you doing teaming up with Bret Hart against me? Come on.
What?
We're Americans.
Flair, you're old school. Me and Bret, we're new school. We don't understand what you're talking about. You're like Hulk Hogan.
You know, Ric Flair, don't get so bent out of shape. You know, Sunday at Payback, we're going to find out who the best there is, best there was, and best ever will be in the women's division is. And when Natalia brings home the Women's Wrestling Federation Championship, then we'll find out who the better woman is. And we'll see that, no offense to Charlotte, she's a great athlete, but she does not compare to Natalia.
She's going to bring the world title back home to Canada, Bret? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. You are not taking that belt off of Charlotte. Nobody's taking that belt off of Charlotte. Not anyone in the world. Bret Hart, Sunday at Payback, we're going to see who the man is. Woo, we're going to see who the woman is. Woo, and I am going to prove it to you. I've been better than you our entire careers, after our careers, and forever. Ric Flair is better than Bret Hart. The Nature Boy beats the Hitman anytime.
All right, that's what you have from Ric Flair. He obviously can't get over the past, and he can't let it go. And he can't even apologize properly, but he wants to say that he's sorry, and Bret Hart is a better wrestler than he is. And I'm glad we had you on the show, Rick.
I'm glad to be on the show, and if you want to apologize, I'll apologize to you right now, Bret Hart, for the embarrassment I'm going to put you through Sunday at Payback. Okay, Ric Flair, we're going to find out who the better man is, and more importantly, this Sunday at Payback, we're going to find out who the better woman is. See you at Payback.
All right.
And by the way, Payback's a bitch. You dirty, rotten, stinking hyena.
I don't know if we can say bitch, but I can't believe that you just said that.
We can say bitch, fuck, ass, shit, asshole, son of a bitch, cocksucker, motherfucker, what the...
Hey. All right. If you have any more questions for Ric Flair or Bret the Hitman Hart, send them to questions@steveaustonshow.com. All right. And I'm going to get back to my ranch and my dog and my lady and my drink and my Steve, my Steve Weisers. And we'll have to talk to Jason Sensation later. Thank you very much. Another wrestling podcast. Happy to be on here.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Stone Cold Steve Austin, that was my brother, Johnny Bloodclot. Time to open up the Wizard of Oz curtains and let you know that Ric Flair, Bret Hart, and Stone Cold are not actually on the show. It was actually...
man on the show?
It was actually Johnny Bloodclot playing Stone Cold Steve Austin. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm good. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. And I was playing Ric Flair and Bret Hart. It's such a pleasure to have Johnny finally on the show. And Johnny, we're going to be bringing you back in future shows so we can hear some of your insight on what's going on in the wrestling world. So such a pleasure to have you, my brother, my loving brother, Johnny Bloodclot, as a part of Jason Regeneration here on another wrestling podcast. Welcome aboard, Johnny boy.
Thanks, man. It was a lot of fun. Thanks a lot, all you guys.
All right, Steve. It's time. It's time for Payback. It is the pay-per-view after WrestleMania. So far,
it's better than WrestleMania.
It seems that it may be better than WrestleMania. Let's start at the bottom. I don't really want to go to the top right away. We've got this kickoff match.
Oh my gosh,
and,
Jonathan.
I haven't really seen Ryback since WrestleMania. I was getting ready to put his picture on a milk carton, but it looks like we're getting another U.S. title match at the kickoff show. Ryback versus Kalisto. What are your thoughts on this match?
Jonathan, not only is it the kickoff show, but it's the exact same match kickoff show that WrestleMania had. Is it just too hard to change up a match here or there? I mean, it's literally been how many weeks now since WrestleMania, and we're having the same exact kickoff show match happening. Unfortunately, Kalisto is a great talent. The guy has a great future ahead of him. The only thing I think they want to do right now is just put the U.S. Championship on Ryback. Why? I don't know. But Jonathan, why should it be a repeat of last month's or whatever pay-per-view's kickoff show? Like, they couldn't pick another match to be the kickoff show or what? I don't know.
Well, what I've seen happen is that right now there's a lot of buzz about the tag team championships. So they're doing this tournament for the tag team championships. The women's title just got a brand new makeover, and they're putting a lot of interest into that. The WWE championship, but it seems to me like the Intercontinental and the United States are just kind of like floating right now. So I don't know who we have to talk to try to get these belts kind of, important. I think they're working on the Intercontinental one, but United States Championship for me is nowhere near where it needs to be. And I think the only reason that this match is even on the kickoff show is that because this week the United States Championship DVD just came out. So if that hadn't happened, I think that we wouldn't even be seeing this match. So I don't know. Who do you have in this match? You said Ryback?
I think they're going to give it to Ryback only because it's the same exact match, and why have the same exact match if you're not going to give us a different winner? I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna go against the grain here. I'm gonna say Kalisto. I don't know why, but I feel like that they're really trying to put him into that Rey Mysterio category. So I'm gonna say that Kalisto walks away with this one.
All right, now this technically isn't a match, Jonathan, but Vince McMahon will be there to announce who will control Raw. Technically, I figured they should have had a match out of it, like Shane picks a guy, Stephanie picks a guy, and then they have a fight, and then the winner gets the control Raw, whatever. But Vince is just going to announce it, I guess. technically, if you weren't paying attention to WrestleMania, the stipulation between the Hell in a Cell match was that if Shane won, he would control Raw like he has for the past 4 weeks or whatnot. And if he lost, that's it. He'd walk away. So technically, if you didn't watch WrestleMania, you probably wouldn't even realize that, Shane McMahon lost. But Vince is going to come out and I don't know. Do you have any idea what he's going to say, Jonathan? Are we going to get swerved on this one?
There's always that chance. But I don't know. Shane's really energetic. He brings something different to Raw. I don't know if there's going to be a brand split. That could be something, that people have been talking about. That could be something that gets decided at Payback. Maybe they say, you know what, Shane, I can see this happen. Vince comes out. Shane, you've done good. Just not good enough. You're no longer in charge of Raw. That's going to be Stephanie McMahon, my daughter. And Shane, there's a lot of boos, all this stuff. Shane gets ready to walk out. He says, hold it. I just said you weren't in control of Raw, but you are in control of SmackDown. So I can't see something like that happening, and it would be a good way to kind of get some more interest to SmackDown, because I can be honest with every one of you, I don't remember the last time I've watched a full episode of SmackDown, just because it's just not been that interesting to me. So
sure.
I would love to see something like that happen, because I'd like to see Shane stick around for a little bit.
Yeah, and I would have to just go against the opposite what you say, to where I would love to see Shane be in charge of Raw, only because I think the whole authority, Stephanie and Triple H, has just been beaten to death. Like, they need a new narrative. They need this. They need Shane right now doing what he's doing, just to give a breath of fresh air into a new story. So hopefully Vince makes the right or wise choice. Now, Jonathan, after WrestleMania, we saw a handful of NXT call-ups onto the main roster. Now, this match, Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler. What do you think about this? Do you think it's Baron Corbin's time? Is Dolph going to be there just to put him over? I mean, he's been, coming out and beating him before every match, so it'll be interesting, I guess. What do you think about Baron Corbin's second major pay-per-view?
I like Baron Corbin. I may get crap for that. I'm sure I'll get crap for that. But Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler, it is going to be a chance for Dolph to kind of make Baron look really good. But I think that Baron's here to stay. He's got he looks like a superstar. So it'll be nice to see what happens from this. Maybe Corbin gets thrown into the United States or Intercontinental title picture at some point. I just really wish that Dolph had a place in the company right now. I know that he does this sort of thing. He puts people over, and that's great, but I think he deserves to be some sort of a champion. I would actually like to see Dolph in a tag team right now, and I don't know why, but I think that would be pretty cool. So hopefully sometime soon Dolph Ziggler finds his way back up the card a little bit. But I'm looking forward to this, and I think that Baron Corbin walks away a winner.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jonathan. I'd like to see Baron Corbin win, and at the same time, I would like to see Dolph Ziggler not lose again. With all the injuries as of late, you think he would have gotten a major elevation out of this, and I don't know. Somebody just doesn't like him. Who knows? But yeah, I think it's still going to be a great match, and I've been liking what they've been doing with Baron Corbin on Raw recently, and just the main roster in general. So it's a nice, once again, breath of fresh air to see a new face up there. Another match, Jonathan, a match that should have been at WrestleMania on a standalone itself, but it's going to be on Payback. You want to let all the fans out there know?
Yeah, this is the match that I'm looking forward to the most, and it's Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. And this is, a storied rivalry. They wrestled all over the indies together against each other. They tagged together, and it's really something that you can tell how passionate they are and how great they work together. Anytime that they're in the ring, it's really magic. And Kevin Owens playing this bad guy, this heel, is amazing. He couldn't, you can't find a better heel. And Sami Zayn is the ultimate babyface. And I love these two guys, wrestling against each other. And I think this is going to elevate both of them to the heights that they haven't seen before. Because really, both these guys are established and everybody likes them in the WWE, but some people haven't seen this rivalry before, so I'm glad that it's getting the attention that it deserves here in the WWE, because they could have just as easily never had them fight, and this is going to be a great match. I'm thinking that Zayn wins, but I could see Owens walk away with it just as easy.
Definitely. This is going to be one of the rivalries that just never die. It's probably going to be the first of many matches throughout their career in WWE. Once again, it's a shame that it wasn't at WrestleMania. I thought, they had such a great package put together of these guys and their history that, right there, that's like WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like, it took them their whole life to get to this one spot to fight. And I'm sure we'll get a WrestleMania match out of them maybe next year or whenever. But, it's kind of a shame that it's going on to the B pay-per-view. At the end of the day, though, it's still, I think, like you said, it's going to be an awesome match. I think Zayn needs to win this. He made a great debut, but he's pretty much lost a lot of matches since then. So I think Zayn could really benefit beating Kevin Owens on this with a clean win. Nothing crazy. So I'm going for Zayn on this one, too.
All right, well, the next match that we got here is Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose. Poor Dean, after his WrestleMania match with Brock Lesnar, we didn't know what was going to happen with him, and it looks like they're trying to continue Dean going against some of these people that will maybe make people believe that Dean is a main eventer. I think he is. I've liked Dean for a long time, and as a matter of fact, I had a bet with some people saying who was the first Shield member that was going to, get a major championship in the WWE, and I said Dean over and over and over, and obviously that did not happen. But I definitely think that Dean Ambrose has to walk away the winner in this match, and I don't know exactly where it's going to go from here, but I am thinking that Dean is going to win.
Definitely, Jonathan. It's almost a head scratcher because it's like, Dean Ambrose has been that upper main event jobber, if you will. He had a match with Triple H at Roadblock before WrestleMania. He's been, with all the injuries out too, he's been one of those top guys, and he just still doesn't get the credibility he deserves or, the recognition. And, at the end of a big feud, they just don't know what to do with him. And, Jericho is a legend, obviously, in the business, but, I feel like these two guys are having a match because they did not know what to do with either of them moving forward. After the AJ Styles feud with Jericho, and then after the Brock Lesnar match with Ambrose at WrestleMania, it was kind of like, okay, we just killed the storylines of both of these guys. What do we do with them now? And they're giving them a match. Both guys are great talents, but at the same time, it's like this is just a match to have a match almost. And I don't see this feud really continuing much longer. I don't see this lasting for 3 months or whatnot. So I don't know. It's kind of a burner for me, to where at the end of the day, I think Dean Ambrose deserves it for all the work he's been doing for the upper card. So Jericho's here. I think he's here to put some people over, and I think what better match to start putting people over than Dean Ambrose.
As Jericho would say, I think you're a stupid idiot.
Hey, he's the one that won at WrestleMania. Let's not forget. Fandango could beat him, but the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, can't beat him at WrestleMania. So that's in the history books, believe it or not. But, another, once again, Jonathan, more call-ups from NXT. Two tag teams already having a number one contenders match. Enzo Amore, Colin Cassidy versus the Vaudevillains. What can we expect from this? What's happening?
You can expect me to be the most excited person alive when this match happens. I love both teams. They're two totally different things, and I love that. I love that we can have the Vaudevillains in 2016, and I love that we can have Enzo and Cass. I think that no matter who wins, I have a feeling that the Vaudevillains are going to get a makeover at some point. I just don't think that they're going to last, because it was kind of like whenever they did Deuce and Domino. Yeah. I thought that tag team was amazing. It was a throwback. Their theme music was awesome. I was rooting for them, and then people just didn't get it. And I think it's kind of the same thing with the Vaudevillains. Enzo and Cass, they come out, they talk trash. How you doing? And everybody loves it. And they can sing along with them. They can talk with them. And you can't teach that. But ultimately, I do think Enzo and Cass are gonna probably win this, pitting them against New Day, which may be difficult because New Day is now kind of a face. So maybe they don't. Maybe it's New Day versus Vaudevillains. But then I kind of feel like there was a big build-up to get Enzo and Cass over. So I don't know. I think that Enzo and Cass are going to win, but I really want both teams to succeed because I really like both tag teams.
No, yeah, definitely. And I agree with you. The Vaudevillains thing, too, is where, when they came out with that classic old music, whatever you want to call it, ragtime, whatever, in NXT, it was great. In that smaller atmosphere, it works perfectly. When you bring them up to the main stage, it's not having that same aspect. It does not have that same feel to it. And, I think they have a great look. They look different. But just they need new music. They need a new entrance. They can't keep doing that black and white stuff. It's definitely not working or clicking, I don't think. And simply, hey, I'm not saying change the name or anything. Vaudevillains is an awesome name. Like I said, they got a great look. Just, give them some new music. Give them maybe, I don't know. I like how they're more, their mannerisms are more perfect. They're not speaking slang or whatnot. They're speaking properly. So it's good. I like it. They just need new entrance music at the end of the day. But, I definitely don't think they're ready to be the number one contenders for the championships. I think Enzo and Big Cass are going to be the new number one contenders. And when they have that match against New Day, I think somebody will probably come out and screw New Day. To start another feud, but I think putting the tag team championships on a tag team that's not a three-man band will be good. We'll just have to see what happens, but I'm definitely rooting for Enzo and Big Cass on that one too.
Well, we've come to the you haven't mentioned Bret Hart this episode, which is a shocker, and so I figured that we'll talk about this women's titles match, and I really believe that it's going to be a perfect split here. Charlotte with her father Ric Flair versus Natalya with her uncle Bret Hart. There is no question in my mind who you have to win, and there's no question who I have to win. So,
well, let me explain. I got to explain this first. Can I take the floor from you?
Yeah, obviously.
Well, Jonathan, and here, as the most, unopinionated response I want to get for this, because yes, I love Bret Hart. I'm a big Bret Hart fan. Obviously, if you've been listening to the show. But I'll tell you what, they've had this match in NXT. Charlotte beat Natty. They've already had this match, you know what I mean? They've had this match on Roadblock. So we've seen this matchup twice, Jonathan, under different circumstances. And back when it was the Divas title, I could see Charlotte beating Natalya, who's kind of the vet now in the ring with the women. So having Charlotte beat her, I think, worked for that. Now that you have the whole brand new women's championship, like I said, we've seen this match already in NXT. You know what I mean? Charlotte won with Bret Hart there and Ric Flair there. So we've seen it twice. We've seen the result of Charlotte winning. In that kind of booking, Jonathan, it has to go to Natalya. I think, Charlotte's at a place to where she's probably too cocky. Her dad just keeps interfering all the time, and I think this is going to finally screw it up for her. She probably even take a step back with her father to where they break up a little bit, to where he doesn't come out with her anymore. But I see Natalya taking the women's championship. She deserves it. She's been there for a while. She's definitely, done a lot for the company. I feel like, she definitely deserves to have the women's championship under her belt, so to speak, before she leaves the WWE. So I don't think they're going to bring Bret Hart, who just had, surgery for cancer and all that stuff, just for her to lose. So that's another thing that's behind my back of having her win. So out of all these, things that have happened lately, I think it would be a nice breath of fresh air to see Natalya win the women's championship. And then, a lot of people out there, too, are probably upset to where they've wanted Sasha Banks to win it, or they wanted Becky Lynch to win it. And don't get me wrong, I love them. They're going to win it. But I think it would have more of a value to have them beat Natalya for it, just because of her history, being the women's champion. She's a former Divas champion too, but I think having them beat the vet for the belt, I think will do a lot more for the career than just beating Charlotte for it. So I'm going for Natalya, Jonathan. I hope I explained it as best I could as why all the moons are aligning, and I really hope she walks away as women's champion Sunday.
Well, I've got to process this for a second because I'm trying to think of the perfect insult. I can go with yes, Natalia is a vet because she's a dog.
Oh,
like a
please,
veterinarian.
she is beautiful.
I was gonna say I've got two things to say to you: boo and woo, because there's no way that Charlotte is going to lose this. Charlotte is the future. A lot of people do not like Charlotte right now. And
Man ass. Man ass.
I am trying to figure out why, but I'm a big fan of Charlotte. I do think that she needs to split from Ric Flair. I think it's time. I think she can stand alone now. But I don't know. I don't think Natalia needs it. I just don't. I think that Charlotte's still trying to prove herself, and this could be where maybe Ric Flair tries to do something and she says like no, and then she does it on her own and wins or whatever. But I'm going with Charlotte mainly just because I don't want to see Natalia win, because I don't want to see you happy.
Well, Jonathan, when she wins Sunday, you're going to be the first person I call just to be like, hey, did you see what just happened?
I probably won't answer.
I'll keep calling. I'll be leaving the messages about that. But anyway, regardless, I really hope she wins it. Because I've always like, wow, why don't they give her the belt again? Why don't they give her the championship again? You know, it's been lingering on all these other girls for a while. And it's like, you know, they haven't fired her yet, so they still love her. So hopefully, you know, she gets the respect she deserves and wins it this Sunday. Just to build up the women's wrestling a lot more. And, you know, like I said, I think the first person to beat Natalia should be like Sasha or Becky, just to, you know, having them beat it off. That's horrible. Having them win it off of Natalia would probably be more prestigious than just beating Charlotte for it. So we'll see. Now, Jonathan, the Intercontinental title match, I kind of wish another guy was in this match, as in Zack Ryder. Lost it the day after WrestleMania to The Miz. Again, The Miz is the Intercontinental Champion again. Forever IC Champion The Miz versus Cesaro, the returning Cesaro, who also made his return after WrestleMania, returned back to the ring. He's got a new thing going, ripping off the suits, Jonathan. He's been reaching for those brass rings for a while now. Do you think they're going to give him the IC nod?
They have to. They have to give it to Cesaro. You know, The Miz is getting a shot in the arm with having Maurice back with him. It's probably I am not a fan of The Miz. I respect what he's done and the ladder he's had to climb to be a WWE superstar, but I'm not a fan of his work, and I think Cesaro is going to walk away the Intercontinental Champion. I don't know if you saw on Raw, it looks like they're starting to do similar to like a Bond thing with him. So they had like the look at his Titantron next time you see it, and then he's got the suit on and he like rips the suit off. So I think that he's getting a big push soon. If he doesn't win the Intercontinental title at Payback, he will win it at the next pay-per-view. You can take that to the bank.
Definitely, and I'm hoping Cesaro walks away with this. And you know, The Miz has accomplished a lot in his career. I think he's held pretty much almost every title I think there is to hold in the WWE right now, believe it or not. So, you know, it's kind of a shame that they couldn't build a story out of this to where it was The Miz versus Zack Ryder and have Zack Ryder win it back. Just to have him chase it for the past few weeks. I don't know. That's what I would have went with. But regardless, you know, with the lack of injuries, Cesaro is back. He's definitely a man who deserves a lot that's coming to him. So, you know, it's nice to see him in this match. But once again, you know, I was hoping Zack Ryder would have still stuck around with that. You know, he had that little, like you said, shot in the arm a little bit, that little boost of adrenaline winning the IC Championship at WrestleMania. But apparently somebody still doesn't like him either, I guess. But Jonathan, it's time for the main event. Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles, and everybody listening at home, that's right. Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles is the main event. Could you have believed me if I told you that about 2 months ago, Jonathan?
I would have not believed you. I am glad that it's happening. AJ Styles deserves the recognition that he's getting right now for being one of the best wrestlers in the world. Roman Reigns, everybody wants to take a dump on Roman Reigns, and you have to realize that this is not Roman Reigns' fault. Roman Reigns goes to work every day and is told basically what to do. Is he the best on the microphone? No. Is he the best wrestler in the world? No. But does he do what he's asked? Yes. And, you know, in a couple of years, you're all going to be saying that Roman Reigns is the best thing since sliced bread. Number 2, Brian Kendrick. That is a wrestling joke. And I want you all to know that, we might see the Bullet Club come out and help AJ. They're definitely going to get involved. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but both guys are going to come away better from having this match. That is the most important thing in this world of professional wrestling, is that both guys end up better than what they started as. Do I think that Roman is going to lose to AJ? I do not. I think Roman is going to walk away the winner, but I do think that it will be a great match.
Definitely, Jonathan. I think the greatest thing that has been happening lately with WWE especially is that it has been less predictable than it used to be. Granted, we could say, it's obvious, Roman's going to win. There's been so many things in motion, so many wheels in motion right now that it's like, well, okay, Roman is an obvious choice, but there's all these other little things happening that could be like, well, this could happen. AJ could win the championship, and then, and so on, and this unfolds and whatnot. There's so many dream scenarios of what people would love to see happen. And granted, Roman just won it again. But, he still isn't getting that fan recognition. The fans hate him. Something's going to happen with him. He was great in the Shield because he didn't talk as much. He was pretty much the ass kicker. Seth and Dean were pretty much the guys on the mic. He did his job. People loved him. And then when he started going on his own, it wasn't so much the same. So if I could fantasy book this to where I know this isn't going to happen, but it's just, fantasy. Jonathan, I would love to see AJ Styles win it. I would love to see the Bullet Club interfere to where the ref doesn't see it, yada, yada, yada. AJ pins him, becomes the new champion. I know the crowd's going to cheer for that because, they just want to get over the Roman Reigns stuff. But I think in order to breathe some new life to where if Roman is their new golden boy, their new John Cena, their new whatever, how do you get the fans to love him? They've done everything I think they possibly could have to get the fans behind him, and they still don't want to get behind him. So I figure if you get him off that little wagon right now, knock him off the high horse, and then you re-team him with the Shield, if you will, to where you have almost a returning Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, to where, they kind of reform the Shield and kind of pick up that energy that they once had. And then, let it settle for a little bit, let it simmer, and see what happens to where, because I don't think the Shield as a whole people are going to boo. Roman Reigns alone, they're probably going to boo just because of where he is. So my fantasy would be AJ Styles winning with the help of the Bullet Club, turn AJ Styles heel, and then, you have Roman reform the Shield, and you have the little feud of the Shield versus the Bullet Club for a few months, leading to maybe a rematch almost going even farther down the line, but I know it probably won't happen, to SummerSlam and have Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles at SummerSlam and have Roman win it then. Granted, I know none of this will probably happen, but it's just something to where I think they really need to give Roman that boost of something again to where if, he's been acting heelish to where they could turn Roman too, but, I know this is the guy they kind of want to take over the reins of John Cena, and it's not working. So it's like, what else do you do than, restart him back up from where he was and reform the Shield? That's what I would do.
I truly believe that you guys out there who are hating on Roman, you're going to see something happen soon. I think it's going to be the opposite effect of John Cena. It's everybody loved John Cena when he first came in, people didn't know what to do. Then he was there for a while and everybody loved him. Dr. Thugonomics, blah, blah, blah. He earned everybody's respect. Then, the marks, whatever, said he's the worst thing ever and he needs to be heel and then we'll like him then and all that stuff. And it's going to be the same thing with Roman. Is that right now, you guys don't like him. And like I said, I'm sticking up for the fact that this guy is still very young in his career. If you look at what he's done so far, it's very impressive in the fact that he's not somebody who, if you look at the Shield, you got Tyler Black and you've got Jon Moxley. You've got these two guys that are proven entities. They came in, everybody already knew him, and everybody loved him. Roman Reigns was down in FCW, after playing football and deciding to get into wrestling kind of late. And for what he's done in this short amount of time, he's pretty good. So I think you're going to see great things from Roman.
Definitely. Well, Jonathan, this whole pay-per-view that we talked about, this is like almost like WrestleMania, Jonathan. This should have been what WrestleMania was. I kind of hate how they have to have like multiple man matches in WrestleMania now. It's kind of like, the kids these days with the baseball games, like every kid's got to walk away with a trophy even if you lost. Like WrestleMania should be the best of the best. I like one-on-one matches. It doesn't need to be 5-on-1 or 5-on-5 or 4-on-4. I think Payback is going to probably be a better pay-per-view than WrestleMania. I'll be sure to eat my words if it's not, but just from the lineup we talked about, Jonathan, I think it's almost WrestleMania-esque, if you will.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think that, this is good because everybody waits for WrestleMania, and WrestleMania came and went, and now there's something else to be looking forward to, and that's what's awesome.
Now, if you're in the Hudson Valley and you love comic books, action figures, and anything dealing with pop culture, head on over to collectorsrealm.net. You guys can visit them at the Duchess Marketplace on Saturdays and Sundays between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. That's Duchess Marketplace, located at 453 Route 9 in Fishkill, New York, just south of I-84. Head on over to collectorsrealm.net.
Hey, all you professional wrestling fans out there. We here at Another Wrestling Podcast have just the thing for you. If you've always wanted to join one of those monthly subscription sites that give you all kinds of treats and goodies in the mail, the best one by far is ProWrestlingCrate.com. You can follow them at PWCrate on Twitter or at ProWrestlingCrate on Instagram. Be sure to check them out and subscribe. The cost is nominal and you get some amazing things every month. And you never know what you're going to get. So tell them that Another Wrestling Podcast sent you and enjoy the Pro Wrestling Crate.
Head on over to pwpnation.com. It's a wrestling media website and community that loves professional wrestling. They strive on creating an array of interesting articles and reviews on everything professional wrestling. Head on over to pwpnation.com.
What's going on, AWP fans? I'm Angry Cooter, the Social Assassin, host of Main Event Marks. Me and my panel of smart marks go live on YouTube Wednesdays at 9 p.m. for a Root and Crude show that is 4 marks, 5 marks, and it's sure to make you laugh or cringe. This ain't your mama's wrestling podcast, so come walk with us on the wild side here at Main Event Marks.
Hey, listeners and viewers of Another Wrestling Podcast, this is Steven from Steve's Wrestling Ramble. If you want a second or third option of hearing WWE news, check out my show, Steve's Wrestling Ramble, on YouTube at youtube.com/user/Capleen08. Check it out, give it a shot, and we are a little bit different, and as I always say, join the conversation. Always like to interact with people. Give it a whirl.
Head on over to ESSpromotions.com. With close to 30 years of experience, ESS Promotions has become one of the largest talent agencies in the professional wrestling business today. They work with over 100 internationally known wrestling stars, many of whom you know and have enjoyed watching on television for many years. ESS Promotions has built its reputation working with many of the top independent wrestling companies, small businesses, and corporate America, with the goal of bringing you their brand of cost-effective and fan-friendly entertainment. Head on over to ESSpromotions.com for more information.
Well, that's the show. We want to thank you all for listening today.
Every week we do this show free of charge for you, the fans.
And if you're wondering how to repay us, we have just the thing.
Subscribe to us on iTunes.
Hey, and while you're there, be sure to rate us and give us a good review.
If you're looking for more information about AWP, then head on over to anotherwrestlingpodcast.com.
We are all over social media, and you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and more.
If you are an AWP superfan, you can also show your support by going over to ProWrestlingTees.com/AnotherWrestlingPodcast and buying one of our official AWP shirts.
We couldn't do this show without you, so tune in next week for